I'm standing in a patch of tea camellias, and it's really cool because they are all flushing new growth right now, ready to pick and make tea from. Now today I'd like to make green tea, but before we get into that, let's talk about the tea plant. Tea is an evergreen shrub that grows really well in our area, just like all other camellias. It's a particular species, Camellia sinensis. These are all dark green, evergreen shrubs. They have cute little white with yellow center blooms in the fall that bees and other pollinators just love. So it's a very versatile plant you can use in your landscape as a foundation or as a hedge. On top of that, we can make 4 different types of tea from it. Green, black, oolong, and white. Those are all of our true teas. I just want to focus on green tea right now because there's little steps that are different. All the same types of process, but in different orders and to different lengths. So to start with green tea, we're going to take what's called a light pluck. And that means we are looking for, here's a whole shoot. You've got your top bud or the smallest leaf, 1, 2. That's all we want for our green tea. We're just taking the bud and the next 2 leaves. If we were doing a coarse pluck for black tea, we could take the bud, 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves behind it. Some people say bud plus 3, others say bud plus 4. We're doing green tea, so we're doing light plucks. Bud plus 2 leaves. Don't sweat this. Don't count every single one. Just get in there, get the tips of those branches. They should be popping right off. If they're young enough and fresh enough, they will pop right off. You'll hear a very pleasing little snap sound like celery. If it's tough, if you have to yank on it or cut it, those leaves are not ready for tea anymore. They've gone too far. You just want these really young ones. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of light pluck, get as much as you can. Right now I have a lot to choose from because I've got a bunch of plants here. If you've just got 1 plant at home, you can still do this with the new growth. You can make 1 cup of tea, maybe 2 cups of tea. And as it gets bigger and bigger, you're gonna be able to make more each time. And if you plant a whole hedge of it, you're gonna be able to make a lot in time. So I'm gonna do some more plucking, get a whole bunch of our light pluck tea, and then we're gonna head in and turn it into green tea. I managed to pick a pretty good amount of leaves this morning from all the plants we have at work, which was pretty exciting. This is gonna make a good amount of green tea. I did the picking early in the morning. That's ideal. You want to get them before the heat of the day and the sun starts stressing the plants out. Get them early in the morning. You then need to take them inside and dry them right away. You need the leaves to wilt, and they won't do that if they're wet. So dry them off with a towel, spread them out evenly on that towel. A fan helps a lot in our humid climate, and let them wilt. Depending on your process, the time will vary. I'm going to pan fry today, so I did 6 hours. 6 to 12 hours for pan frying. It's less if you're going to steam them. Now that I've got them nice and wilted, we can take them inside and pan fry them. We'll use a dry wok or just a big metal pan is fine. Move them around constantly as they are cooking. You want them to end up looking pretty cooked. I mean, almost spinach style. You don't want them to burn. You don't want them to fall apart, but you do want them to get well cooked. So it's going to be a couple of minutes on that hot pan, medium-high heat. Once they've been cooked, we let them cool off again. That should happen very quickly. And then a very important step happens where we need to crush the leaves. We need to crush them so that the cell walls actually burst. We want all the juices inside those to be able to flow out and get into our glass of tea. So this will be easier once they've actually cooked. And I've tried a couple different techniques, and you'll see different things online. I really feel for home scale, for anything like this, more than this, you'd want to try some other things. But for home scale, typically, just make a ball of them in your hand and just go to town. Crush them as hard as you can, roll them around, break it open, crush them again. You're going to be doing this until juices start coming out. You're going to be getting wet. There's going to be all kinds of leaf juice all over your hands, and it's great for your skin, all that green tea. Your hands will feel amazing afterwards. So once you are done crushing all of it, you have to get all of them crushed as well as you can. And I have learned that this step is critical. Do it more than you think. The more I crush, the better my tea comes out. So really just go to town. If your leaves start disintegrating, you've done it too much. But up until that point, just keep crushing. Lastly, you need to dry your tea. For this green tea, I'm going to do 185 degrees in the oven. until it's crispy dry. You just spread it out again on a pan and just pop it in that oven. And it might take a while. It can be 20 to 45 minutes depending on how dry your leaves are when they go in. You need them crispy, crunchy, dry. Put them in an airtight container like a mason jar or a ball jar, and they will be ready to store for quite a while. I found that this fresh tea, freshly brewed, is so much more flavorful, and the effects for your mind and body really seem to be heightened. It's so much more calming for me when I have this fresh tea than store-bought, on top of the flavor being better. And now the fun part. We're gonna brew some tea. So I have this beautiful teapot that lets you see everything in there, and frankly, it enhances the experience. This is some lovely homegrown dry green tea. How much to use? It's just a taste. Don't sweat this too much. I like a strong green tea, so I put a couple of pinches in there, and you'll just work that out yourself as you go. We want less than boiling water. You'll see a range of temperatures there, not 212. You need to let your water boil and then cool. So a target is like 175 degrees. If you're really worried about getting this right, you will need to get a thermometer and check at some point. But basically, let your water boil, let it sit for a minute or two, and then use it. You're gonna be fine. Green tea should be brewed relatively short. If it's been crushed properly, the juices are gonna come out really, really quick, and you'll have tea ready in 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes. Too long of a brew and the flavors just change. It's not what you're looking for green tea. So some of the details that you no doubt feel like we glossed over are in this book, simply named Grow Your Own Tea by Christine Parks and Susan Walcott. And I could not recommend this enough. If you want to grow and brew your own tea at home, this has everything you need to know. I spent years researching online, and I never felt confident doing it myself. I finally found this book. I actually had other books, and they didn't help me. This just tells you everything you need to know for home growing. It's simple, it's concise, it's straightforward. It's also thorough. It's just the perfect balance. So I really, really recommend this book if you're serious about doing this. There's a lot of other techniques in here, things we didn't talk about, details we didn't talk about. I can't recommend enough that people grow their own tea in North Florida, especially because it's so easy. The plants are beautiful. I would say that's green tea. This is a pretty light brew right now. This is ready to go for me. I like a lot of leaves, but a short brew time. So that's me. You can adjust however you want. The sound of it pouring, the smell, it's earthy, it's rich, it's sweet. It's really cool. And it tastes incredible. Fresh tea beats anything you're gonna get at the store. So please pick up some tea, grow it, use this book for details, and just experiment. You don't have to do it perfectly. It's much simpler. A lot of people equate it to wine and other things like that. It is that complicated. You can make it a life's passion to figure out how to do it, but you can also make a really good cup your first try. So give it a shot. Let us know how it goes. I think you're really going to enjoy this.